Welcome to another edition of Inside Winnipeg Politics. It's a special edition today because our friend Justin Trudeau has announced that he's leaving. Well, he's going to leave, but he doesn't want to leave right away. He still wants to hang around for a little while. So they're not going to do any work for the next little bit while he can still be prime minister. I mean, Royce, maybe you could explain it better to us. He's gone, but he's not gone. I don't know. It's not making a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's actually one of the more interesting things about his announcement is that he's resigning, but he's going to stay on as leader until a new leader is chosen, which is going to take at least 2 to 3 months. And so we have some experience with this right here in Manitoba. A former party leader resigned, but said she wanted to stay on. Eventually, a party decided that wasn't in the best interest of the party. I'll bet there's going to be a lot of Liberal MPs right now who are going to be clamoring for him to be gone. They want Trudeau to be a memory. They want to move on as quickly as possible, considering there's an election coming in October. So that was the surprising, interesting thing about this announcement today for me.
Yeah, dragging it on like that, it's sort of one of those farewell tours that, that nobody really wants to see. It's the
Yeah.
band going out on the road one more time because they're going to try to cash in, but they don't really have an audience anymore. That's kind of what he's doing here. And I think Royce is right that this is not going to play well within the party for sure. That they're going to, I think, ideally what the party would probably like to see, and I think most Canadians would be for the prime minister to vacate the position today, have the party executive name an interim leader, have cabinet select an interim leader, the party select an interim leader, then begin the process of picking a new leader, but not to prorogue parliament for till March. That's we're talking about a long time here, and guys, we're facing potentially some pretty severe tariffs coming from south of the border. There's going to be some serious business that has to be attended to over the next couple of months, and Parliament should be in session.
So, Royce, you being the political science professor, I wanted to get you to explain that to us because I'm sure there's a lot of people, we kind of know what prorogue parliament means, but what does it really mean? What can the government do and not do?
Well, they're just shutting down the House of Commons. And so it's the same thing, when Parliament goes into recess, it was just in recess over the Christmas break. It's not that government stops functioning. It's just that House of Commons isn't sitting. And so you can't hold the government accountable. You can't ask them questions. And most importantly, you can't move a motion of non-confidence. You can't express non-confidence. You can't actually defeat a minority government right now. So prorogation, it got kind of a bad reputation in the past. Nothing wrong with prorogation. Governments are perfectly entitled to do this. The Governor General, we live in a democracy, so the Governor General is obligated to prorogue when the Prime Minister requests it. But I think Canadians can reasonably say, like, well, why are we shutting down the House of Canadian democracy so that the Liberal Party can sort out its own internal affairs, can figure out its own mess? It doesn't have to happen. We're still going to have a Prime Minister, whether or not it's Trudeau or it's some other or Liberal. The House could still stay in session, and that would be a good thing, I think. I think prorogation needs to be better justified. And because he's going through for this, I think people are they're gonna punish the Liberal Party for this in the future.
Didn't sit well when Stephen Harper did it, and he did it for
Yeah.
purely political purposes. And so I think Royce is correct that if you're going to prorogue Parliament, there needs to be a compelling reason to do that, other than what's in the best interests of your own party. And this one just doesn't pass the smell test.
Well, I think he's made the decision all along that it's about him first. Justin first, party second, country third. And I think it's been going in that direction for quite some time. The question that I've been asked by a few people, especially walking around the Winnipeg Sun, is what powers does he have as prime minister to commit Canada to spending? Can he cancel the carbon tax? Does he have certain powers as prime minister that he doesn't have to go to the Hill for?
Oh yeah, our Canadian Prime Minister Royce can explain this. The Canadian Prime Minister has especially in a majority government, has almost unlimited authority.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they won't pass budget bills, but the machinery of government continues on even when the House isn't in session. The problem is that he's making decisions. He's potentially involving Canada decisions with the U.S. That's the major concern. And he's not accountable. The House of Commons is there to hold the government accountable. And proroguing means he's escaped that. I think a really interesting thing that happened today, Jagmeet Singh said that as soon as they get the possibility, they'll defeat the government. They'll vote non-confidence. What it looks like, what might happen is if he follows through with that, the Liberal Party will have a new leader who will immediately have to go into an election campaign, which should be it's like Kim Campbell 2.0, even worse. And so the Liberal Party might well be outsmarting itself with prorogation right now. It could lead to a real wipeout for the party.
Who wants the job?
That's what I was going to ask next. Like, I mean, it's trying to be the captain of the worst hockey team in the NHL at this particular point in time. Who's standing up to take it? I heard today from a couple of reporters that we have in Ottawa that Jolie and others are saying, no, thank you. Not at this moment.
I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
Boy, I don't know. If somebody offered me the job, I'd have to respectfully decline. What's the upside to taking that job? I mean, you're looking at, we talked about this in one of our previous podcasts. You're looking at potentially a 16-year commitment in that position because you're probably going to wind up in opposition for 1 to 2 terms. And now, we're kind of speculating here, but at least 1 term. Then, and you've got to rebuild this party from ground zero, which it looks like it's going to be. And then you're going to be in power if all goes well for 1 to 2 terms. So you're looking at a minimum of 8 and probably closer to a 16-year commitment as leader. Boy, that's a long stretch for anybody to look that far down the road in their personal lives, their family lives, economically. What's my health going to be? How old am I going to be by the time this is all done? Do I want to do this job for another 15, 16 years? That's the list. When you start factoring all of those things in, the list becomes a little bit shorter.
I think though it's playing out right here in Manitoba with the race, if you would call it a race, to be the next leader of the Manitoba PC party. Now, I know that our Heather Stephenson at the time when Conservatives lost the election, she stepped down. I think she wanted to go right away. I think it was the party faithful or some of the party echelon that wanted her to stay on so they could make some changes and do a few things and maybe manipulate the way things are working. That's my opinion. But I do believe that that's what we're seeing with the Conservative race right here in Manitoba. It's not what you want to jump into. It's not the party you want to be a part of right now. And there's a lot of rebuilding that has to be done. And I guess my biggest fear in all this, though, guys, is going back to it. Justin Trudeau has kind of shown more of his cards. He has an ego. He is not just walking away. He wants to hang on to power for as long as he can. I'm really concerned what he will do with that power between now and the time that they have another leader. If you looked at some of the people Biden pardoned during his last few months in office and some of the things that he's done, very questionable people that he let off. And I'm not saying that Trudeau's going to do that, but I have to be honest with you. I'm a little bit afraid of what he might say to the U.S., what kind of a commitment he might make to China, what kind of a commitment he might make to Russia or not. Like it really concerns me, and I think I'm not the only Canadian that's going to be sitting there saying, "We got to watch this boy."
Yeah, lame duck prime minister can get away with a lot of things. I think we're going to see some real pushback from the Liberal Party. I mean, this is not a group that has had a ton of backbone in the last few months. It took a long time for them to build up the courage to actually force Trudeau out. But I think that right now, I'm not a Liberal, but I would imagine there's an awful lot of Liberals that are not happy about him staying on. They want Trudeau to be history. They want to move on. And the sooner they can do that, the better. But yeah, in the meantime, I would be concerned about Trudeau's kind of worst excesses coming through over the next few months as well.
Well, if he was to get pushed out the door, who in that party has his ear? I mean, who would he listen to? Is there anybody? I mean, if he hasn't listened to Chrystia Freeland and some of these other folks, who would he listen to?
Is it LeBlanc? Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to
I
say.
don't know.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about this then. Now, just so we can wrap it up. We don't know who the leader's going to be. Can't talk about that. And as you said, and I think Geoff said it very well. Who's running to the finish line here? I think a lot of people are kind of turning their heads, saying, "Don't look at me, don't look at me. I'm really busy over here." But does this hurt them in the next election, or does this make their chances a little bit better? I think they're going to lose, but do they win more seats now that JT is gone, and do they have a chance to, even have a better showing, if you will?
Well, they may get more votes. Whether or not they get more seats is sort of up in the air. But yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt them if he's not the leader next time around, is he, Royce?
Yeah, I mean, I have it's so hard to say. I have kind of a contrary view here. And that is that Trudeau, experienced politician, he won 3 elections. He could have led the party to a respectable loss. He would have lost, but he could have actually gotten to a point where the party was in fairly good shape in the same way that the Conservatives were, say, in 2015 when they lost. The danger the party faces now is they could select someone, say Mark Carney, no elected experience. It's just another kind of Kim Campbell, but worse. And the party it's really facing uncertain territory right now. I think Trudeau it could have been a respectable loss. The person they choose now, I have no idea.
And quickly, what about Jagmeet Singh in the NDP? What happens to him now?
I think he gets blown out of the water next
Yeah.
time around.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, if the Liberals completely disappear, someone has to replace them. But I'm not sure Singh is the person to do it. Thus far, it hasn't been the case.
One more question about Singh. The new leader comes in, the party picks a new leader, they get back into parliament, they start getting to work. Does Singh still try to bring down the government? Or will he use that as a way to get out of his promise to bring down the government now that Trudeau's
Well,
not there?
he may look at this as his opportunity to fill the void. And it might be his best and only opportunity to step in, fill the void. If the Liberals are in such disarray, then maybe he can stand up and say, we're the alternative to Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, he has to take a leap of faith. He's not ready for an election. The party's not in the best of shape. But if the Liberals are in very rough shape, they have a very inexperienced leader, then it might be his opportunity. Like he can supplant the Liberals as the center-left alternative to the Conservatives. Do it, Jagmeet. Take the plunge. I believe in you. You can do it.
Jump, jump, the net will appear. Final question. And again, I was asked this by a lot of the folks here at the Winnipeg Sun Building. When do you think an election will happen? Most of them wanted it to be tomorrow. And I said, that's not going to happen.
Oh, if we're proroguing until what, the middle of March or end of March or whatever it is,
March.
it won't be earlier than June.
Right? It'll come down to Sting. He is the one that's ultimately going to decide this. If he is going to take a chance on an early election, we'll get it early. If not, I don't know. I still think we're going to hold out until October, but he's the one that's going to decide.
So we're right back, really, in the same spot that we were months ago, where Singh was the one guy that could have brought this to an end and did not.
Yep.
Yeah, the new Liberal leader is not going to want to dive right into an election. That would be crazy. Like he or she is going to want to wait. Even just a few months will really help the new leader out. So it'll be up to Sting.
Appreciate your thoughts, gentlemen. Thank you very much.